So welcome once again to all the participants. So today this session will be on hands-on on this machine translation, and Mr. Amulya Ratna Das he is going to take this session. He is going to show us some demo. If you want to do it with him, then you can use the Colab. He will tell you how we are going to proceed with him, or later how we are going to start. So let me introduce Mr. Amulya Ratna Das. So Mr. Amulya Ratna Das works as an AI engineer at IQ VIA RDS Bangalore. He has 8+ years experience, industrial experience in natural language processing, mostly focused on research and development for commercial domain adapted machine translation system for European languages. Amulya did his MTech from BITS Pilani and BTech from Biput, Odisha. And now, once again, I'll welcome Mr. Amulya Ratna Das. Now, session is yours. You can start now. Mr. Amulya. Yes.
Thanks, Dr. Satya, for inviting me to share my experience of developing machine translation systems. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So this session mostly will be focusing on the hands-on part. So I would expect all of us to follow along with me. So that's why we will be using Google Colab basically, so that we need not to prepare any environment. And feel free to stop me if we find any major issue or while running, so that we can resolve it together.
Thank you, sir.
One sincere request will be, it's better if we follow along. By the end of the session, we'll be able to have a small trained neural machine translation model, and which can be further used or reused with new data or any specific language, and we can have our own after the session. So let's start.
Let me give the share screen permission. Yes, you can.
Sure.
You can share your screen. Yes.
Thanks. Let me know when you see my screen.
Yes, it is visible.
Yeah. Thanks. As already discussed, this is more on like a hands-on session. So, and the agenda for the session will be mostly we'll be looking at the public data sources from where we can collect parallel data sources like source and target language pairs for our experimentation and research. Then we'll be looking at different NMT frameworks, basically the open source NMT frameworks which are available. And we'll see how they compete against each other, what are the pros and cons of different frameworks. Then we'll see data pre-processing. Data pre-processing is mandatory steps of cleaning, collecting, and making the data ready for training the neural networks. Then we see tokenization, that is again a subtask of the machine translation pipeline. Then we train a model. Basically, we'll be taking English to Hindi as a source and target language to train our English Hindi NMT model. Then we'll infer using the trained from say the reference or gold standard Hindi text. Yeah. Dr. Shudip would have already covered the different types of machine translation in the morning session. Mostly statistical machine translation, even example based or rule based, or and the latest topic which mostly the current focus is on neural machine translation. So we'll be using developing a neural machine translation model. So NMT or neural machine translation learns the probabilistic model. Given the source segment, I try to learn what is the probabilistic model for the generating the target sentence. How will the conditional probability between the source text and the target text from the training data set. And it uses a neural network to learn this probabilistic model. So we call it neural machine translation. And the NMT basically predicts the likelihood of a sequence of words. It's kind that it's basically learns the likelihood of the sequence of words for both the source side as well as the target side language. And the architecture of an NMT system mostly consists of two subparts. One is the encoder and the decoder. Here we can figure for the encoder and decoder. Encoder takes the source text. Here the input is J Swiss Etudiant. This is in French. So this basically is a source text, and this source text is embedded. We take the embedding after tokenizing, and we pass it to the encoders. And then we get a contextual representation of the source text, which is the input. Then that is passed on to the decoder, and decoder is a language model. So basically, it once it receives the context or the hidden representation from the encoder, it generates a target text. Here, the target text is in English. So basically, this is a French to English system in the example, and it outputs "I am a student." This is how it works. So mostly NMT is an end-to-end system. So we train. Basically, it trains the neural network end to end. Basically, it takes the input text and it outputs the like a text. There is no concept of like phrase table like in statistical machine translation or individual components word alignment, which we see in SMT systems. Here it learns the end-to-end goal of translation. Next, coming to data collection. Data is the most critical part for neural networks. So neural networks are mostly data hungry. So the more the data, the better the learn the probabilistic model and the better the accuracy of the model. So we have these are the major systems or URLs or from where we can get our data. Opus is an open parallel corpus. It's kind of search engine for parallel corpus. So here we can filter using any language, even most of the global languages, European languages, Asian languages. They have archived all those available parallel corpus as well as monolingual corpus, which can be used for machine translation. Then we have European Parliament proceedings, parallel corpus. This we can find from the statistical MT group of the University of Edinburgh. They maintain this for 21 European languages. These are basically the speech proceedings, so which are translated, as well as these are human corrected. So we find less noise in this European Parliament proceedings. Similarly, we have United Nations Parallel. This provides us 6 languages, the official languages of United Nations. Again, this United Nations Parallel Corpus is of greater quality because this is human annotated and cleaned. Similarly, we have a website called Paracrawl. What they do is they run their bots to pick English text from websites as well as the translated versions from different websites. But Paracrawl gives us very noisy data. But Paracrawl can be used for most of the languages which are high resource languages mostly. So for low resource languages, again, we'll have to either focus on our own strategies to collect data and do optical character recognition and create our own corpus. But there are 2 conferences, WMT, workshop machine translation, and the second one is workshop on Asian translation. These are annual conferences where we can find shared tasks. Basically, from this shared tasks, even we can collect parallel corpus for low resource languages, even very low resource languages, and the European as well as other Asian languages also. And these are very cleaned corpus, and most of the machine translation systems are evaluated on WMT corpus. Like mostly people take specify the year on for which they took. Like WMT 14 may suggest the data provided on in the 2014 conference and benchmark against the participants from that shared text. Whenever we get a state-of-the-art neural machine translation model, we need to use the best practices to evaluate on a WMT dataset, which is clean as well as a kind of a benchmark. Then coming to Indian languages, we have a corpus called AI for Bharat. Here, it collocates all the resources related to Indian languages, text resources, be it parallel corpus or even monolingual corpus and even speech corpus. So it's a good initiative some months back for Indian languages. Yeah. Next, coming to NMT frameworks. NMT frameworks are so it involves multiple subtasks like tokenization, data preparation, even designing the encoder, the model network, as well as the decoder side, and also the inference part. So basically, it's better to use a publicly available open source framework, and because these are open source framework, we are free to customize the framework as well as reuse it for both research purpose as well as industrial purpose. So the most common frameworks are the four enlisted here. SOC-IE is a framework which is developed by and maintained by Amazon. All of these four are neural machine translation framework. Similarly, Marian NMT is a framework developed by Microsoft. The Bing machine translation basically uses this Marian NMT framework, which came up in 2018. Then we have FAIRSec. FAIRSec is a framework developed by Facebook, Facebook AI Research, that came a little late in 2019, but they implement all their research papers which are from AI group of Facebook. And the last one is OpenNMT. OpenNMT was initiated by Harvard NLP department, and currently OpenNMT is being by industrial group of a few companies, collaboration of few companies. The major one is Sistran. So they maintain this OpenNMT, and the list has been prepared based on the citation count among research papers. SOC-IE has around as of September 2020, SOC-IE has around 100 plus citations, and Marian NMT has got around 200 plus citations, and FAIRSec has got 300 plus citations. But OpenNMT is a clear winner. It has got close to 1100, around 1200 citations, and so in this session we'll be using OpenNMT to build our neural machine translation. And we select OpenNMT as our framework. First thing is it's very actively being developed. Whatever new research comes in the area of neural machine translation, within months it gets added to OpenNMT. So this saves our time of reinventing the wheel. So we'll be using OpenNMT end-to-end for our demo as well as hands-on session. So next, coming to data formats. Till now, any doubt or anything to specify?
No, sir. Mr. Amulya, you can continue.
Yeah. Thanks for confirmation. Yeah. So data set formats.
Sir,
So
excuse
here
me, sir.
mostly.
Yes, yes.
Sure.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, would you give me some difference between FAIRSec library and OpenNMT? Actually, I'm using sometimes FAIRSec. Why actually? What is the advantage over OpenNMT with FAIRSec?
Yeah. So here what happens is for building OpenNMT is ready for both production use as well as research use, and OpenNMT provides two branches or two endpoints. We can use with TensorFlow as well as PyTorch, but FAIRSec is mostly on PyTorch environment. And OpenNMT, and one point we have seen is like in FAIRSec, as it is a product from Facebook AI, sometimes it lacks the implementation of the papers which are released by Google Translate team. There is a delay in re-implementing in FAIRSec, but OpenNMT is neutral to neither to Facebook AI Research or Microsoft AI Research or Google Research. So they are very prompt in implementing the latest findings into OpenNMT. And most important will be like it provides a choice of using both TensorFlow as well as PyTorch for OpenNMT. It makes sense.
Mr. Amulya, you are not audible. Hello. Mr. Amulya, when not
Hello.
audible. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, it's okay now.
Is it audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So till what meant? I heard the question from question, but was the answer
Yes.
audible?
Yeah. Audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, I understand.
Okay, continue.
So if you see the citation count also, FAIRSEC enjoys like 300 plus citation. If you see OpenNMT is having now 1200 citations. So both are fine, but still close enough. But it depends upon the choice of the researcher or the. But for industry and production ready, OpenNMT has an advantage. Thanks. So next, coming to dataset formats. So here the parallel text is mostly available in 3 formats. One is called TMX format. I'm running through the slides, might be in a hurry because we'll have to do a hands-on session. That time I'll be sharing the screen and showing what the formats look. So TMX format is mostly a translation memory exchange. This is based on XML based format where we can have XML nodes containing both source and target text along with some metadata. Similarly, we have tab separated values. These are just tab separated values where we get 2 columns with source and target text and separate files. This is also a common file which we find in different corpora. This is basically a pre-processed where we get 2 separate files, one file for source text and another file with for target text. And to read all this, any of this format, like TMX or TSV or separate files, we have a well-known and well-documented standard library called Translate Toolkit. We can read TMX format very easily without writing a huge number of lines of code using this Translate Toolkit. It is a basically Python package. And similarly, tab separated file and the other one, the separate files can be read using any tool, preferably NumPy or even Pandas. So coming next to data pre-processing. Data pre-processing mostly involves data cleaning as well as tokenization. Assuming the data is cleaned, let's focus on tokenization part. Tokenization is the process of breaking a segment into pieces so that we pass it on into the embedding layer. There are 3 prominent types of tokenization would be like word-based tokenization, character-based tokenization, and subword-based tokenization. Word-based tokenization basically splits the segment with a space character. Wherever we get so each word becomes a token. Similarly, we will be having character-based tokenization where the alphabet of a language becomes the set of vocab. So individual, like for English, A, B, C, all of those will be one token, and we split segment to different characters. And, so with word-based tokenization, the vocab size increases because here we need to have all the words in a language as part of our vocab. So we vocab use, and with increased size of vocab, the model takes much longer to train as well as learn, and also it becomes ambiguous. So with character label, the vocab size decreases. Vocab size decreases to basically the number of alphabets in that language. But here the problem is we do not we lose many semantic as well as syntactic association among the words when we take a character as a token. To mitigate, we have a middle ground between word and character, which is called a subword. Subword basically is a part of the word, which may or may not have a dictionary importance, or it may not be a correct word, but it's just a subword which is learnt by a model, which we call a tokenizer model. So subword also has got multiple strategies. The common one is byte pair encoding, which we'll be using in our hands-on session. This byte pair encoding is inspired from the data compression algorithm, byte pair encoding. So for this, even other types of subword modeling are Unigram as well as the WordPiece. WordPiece is a proprietary which is being used in BERT or by Google. Byte pair encoding mostly takes into consideration the frequency of different bytes and tries to reduce the specified vocabulary, merge or reduce the size of the vocabulary. Similarly, another type of subword tokenization is Unigram. Unigram takes into consideration probabilistic approach. It basically uses a probabilistic language model. But for training a Unigram language model, we need a huge amount of corpus so that it learns a probabilistic language model and uses that probabilistic language model to create a or train a tokenizer. So in our case, we'll be using byte pair encoding. And sentence space, we'll be using a package called sentence space that is again from Google, which implements both byte pair encoding as well as Unigram. Yeah, we are free to choose or experiment later with Unigram also when we have a good amount of data. Next, coming to NMT model design or training. So here basically in NM, give me 1 minute.
Sir, your sound is sometimes breaking.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's why I'm just changing the connection, closing.
Okay.
Give me 1 minute.
Thank you. So one of the participants has entered and Zoom ID admin. Can you change, rename the Zoom ID?
Is it better now?
Yes, yes.
So coming to NMT model design, mostly NMT model has got two components, encoder as well as the decoder. So we are free to use any of the components like or recurrent neural networks with attention, or even transformer base and transformer big. So, but the state of the art models are basically built using transformer big or transformer base. The neural machine translation started somewhere around 2014 or 15. During 2014 and 15, RNNs were mostly used as components in encoder and decoder. Later towards 2017, with attention is all you need paper from Google research by Vaswani et al. Transformer models were introduced and these are replaced all RNNs as well as RNN with attention. So here for modeling, we'll be using OpenNMT, basically the TensorFlow flavor of OpenNMT. After training a model, the final part is model evaluation. So here the most common used trick is BLEU score. BLEU is bilingual evaluation under study score. This is a 18 or 20-year-old score, which is still close to human evaluation. So continue using a BLEU score as the primary metric for evaluating NMT systems. And it gives a higher score when the machine translation output is close to the reference text or human translation score. And we can use either SecReBLEU or NLTK to calculate BLEU scores. Yeah. So now we'll be moving to hands-on session. Till now, any doubt or clarification?
Anybody having any doubt or any queries there, you can ask now. Then we'll go for the hands-on session in OpenColab.
Sir, one small question. Sir, sometimes the BLEU runs, as the slide says, that runs between 0 to 1, but we mention it is 40, 60. So how it is? I try to understood the evaluator so that he can check it is in between 0 or 1.
Yeah. So basically, we report as a percentage into 100 basically for readability.
So, sir, yeah. Sir, in our article,
yeah.
it is required to mention it is. Yeah, sir. Sir, it is required to mention is scaling, so it is required to saying somewhere in my article.
No,
Hello.
we can specify in terms of hundreds, like 46 we can report. Because Sacreblue is giving in 10 or 46, but NLTK, if you prefer, it will be giving us 0.46. Does it make sense?
Sir, actually, I want to ask you the range between 0 to 1, is it is mentioned somewhere in my article, or no need to mention this line, range 0 to 2?
No, we need not to mention.
Okay, sir. Thank
We
you.
need not to mention because it's normalized and we get it from 0 to 1. 0 to 1 or 0 to 100 also makes sense. Like Sacreblue is giving us 0 to 100 in the range, but NLTK gives 0 to 1. It's just multiplied by 100. Thank you. So we continue to our hands-on session.
Yes, yes.
Let me know once you see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
So Google Colab is a product from Google Research where we can where basically it's a online as a environment. We can use it for modeling as well as even doing normal Python task. But the most pro or the positive part is it provides us free GPUs, which can be used for training our models. So can you just search Google Colab and open login using your Google account and create a new notebook basically?
You just give them 2 minutes so that anyone wants to open the Google Colab and open one account. If not,
No, account is not required. We can use any of our Google account, like Gmail account, if we have.
yes, yes, Gmail account. I'm talking about Gmail account.
So that it becomes easy for all of us to follow along.
Can you please take a minute and open the Colab so that you can do it parallelly with our resource person? Okay, Mr. Amulya, you can continue. I think.
Sure. So the first thing is we have a empty notebook here, and we need to specify the runtime. Here, if we go to runtime, we can change the runtime that we need a hardware accelerator, basically a GPU. So we need to select this GPU option, and we need to save it as the first thing. Then I would like to share something. Yeah. So let's see what all we already have in this environment by doing a pip list to see the installed packages. And I'll be sharing this notebook as well. So others can refer it afterwards as well. So without creating an environment or installing anything on our local system, we already have all this model. Mostly we have TensorFlow pre-installed, even PyTorch as well. Now, as discussed, for tokenization, we need sensibility. For modeling or training the NMT, we need OpenNMT-TF. For that purpose, we need to install sentence space first. Just pip install sentence. Yeah, it's installed now. Now we need to install OpenNMT. Pip install OpenNMT-tf. Yeah, it's installing all its dependencies. Yeah, for me, OpenNMT is already installed. Yeah, I have shared two links where I have uploaded the English part of the which will be using for this demo, as well as the Hindi part. Those will be using to download the source as well as target files to Google Colab and use it. These are basically hosted in we'll basically using these two links to GitHub files. For that, we can use wget. Wget is a command which helps us to fetch the file, and we specify the alias name, like the just to for better identification. First, we are getting the English part. Yeah, we already have it. It's 9 MB. Now we need to get the we can see here. We can see in the Explorer window, we already have this train_en.zip and train_hindi.zip. Now we'll have to unzip the files. Yeah, the wget code I can copy, but I provided the URL as well. So I've sent it again.
Just put it in chat box so that.
Yeah, I have put the first one was for Hindi. Now the second one is for English. Yeah, now we can see the extracted files. Now we have 4 files, 2 zip files and 2 extracted files. Yeah. Now we need to let me create a new directory just to organize the files. Something, anything like. We have a directory created train file, so we'll be keeping all our pre-processed files train_files folder. Now we need to read the corpus files, English as the Hindi files, and create it, tokenize it, make it ready for tokenization. So with Here we're opening the English file and in read mode, and we need to specify the encoding UTF-8 for Hindi mostly. So it's a best practice to always use UTF-8. And for some languages Chinese or a very morphologically rich language, we may have to use a different encoding UTF-8-sig for readability. Similarly, let's read the Hindi file, then we can see the length of. Yeah, we can see we have in English we have 1,95,000 segments. The same for Hindi. And now the main part is like we'll be using this to train a tokenizer. Usually in neural machine translation, we use a shared tokenizer. The same tokenizer can be used to tokenize English as well as the target text or the Hindi. For that, to train a tokenizer, we need to merge both the pairs, like English as well as Hindi. So we have 1,95,000 segments in English and the same amount in Hindi. We need to concatenate and train it on the shared shared corpus basically. So here let's merge it. Yeah, once we train the tokenizer, we'll be just seeing the editor how the tokenized file looks like as well as how the plain text file was looking for better understanding. Yeah, so now we merge it. Then if we see the we have 3,90,000. Yeah, and now we need to train tokenizer. So we need NumPy for the reading as well as saving the tokenized files. So let's import NumPy as NP. And at the start of the session, we install SentencePace. So we need to import that as well with alias SPN SentencePace model. So now we need to save this merged file. Merge text like which contains the 3,90,000 segments into a file to be passed to SentencePace for learning the tokenizer basically. So we use NumPy's np.saveText and we put a file name. Something like source target. We just specified the folder name. We'll be saving in the name source target inside train underscore files, and we need to specify this array which we created, the merged one. Then we need to specify the format says we need as a string, so that as it is the text gets saved without changing anything related to numbers or float. Then we specify the encoding. Yeah, we already have this source target file. Yeah, and now the main part is training a sentence-based tokenizer. So we use SPM. SPM is sentence-based module. It provides it provides two main APIs. One is sentence-based processor. Other one is sentence-based trainer. For tokenizing or detokenize, we'll be using sentence-based processor. As for now, we are training the tokenizer. So we'll be using the sentence-based trainer and provided the input file, which we just now created. Then we specify the model prefix. Model. I hope all of us are following, or any challenges.
If anybody having any issues, then you can talk with sir now.
You can send in the chat window also. So in the model, in the input field, we just provide the input file name. Okay. Yeah. So then we have a model prefix. Here in model prefix, we specify the name. Inside train folder, the model will be created with the name SPM. SPM.model, and the same vocabulary will be saved with the name SPM.vocab. So then we need to specify the model type. As we discussed for subword modeling, we have BP as well as Unigram, and we are using BP byte pair encoding type, model type. Then we need to specify the vocab size. Vocab size usually can range from 4K to 52K or even 32K for some languages. It depends upon the amount of data we have. Based on that, we can, and how morphologically rich the language is. Based on that, we need to decide the vocab size. For this experiment, we'll be using 16,000 as our vocab size. 16,000 vocab size includes vocab for both our English as well as Hindi. Let's call this a shared vocab. Then we need to specify something called character coverage. Character coverage is includes all the alphabets as part of the token. Yeah. So here I have just writing the mod like trainer code tokenizer. Do it. So coverage is usually for this scenario we can take 1, but for other languages we can take 0.9995, so that we miss out on words or alphabets or characters which are not so frequent. So now
Amulya sir, some participants are asking to share share this file.
yeah, this file I'll be saving it and I'll be sharing along with the PPT
Okay.
after the session, or or shall I share
Okay.
it now, or what was the question exactly?
I think many of them want the code. I think that's why they want the
Yeah,
file
so
of them.
yeah, that should be fine. After the session, I can share. I can
Okay,
save it
no
as
problem.
PDF or something and share.
Yes, yes, no, no.
Okay. But for now, I cannot share because we have option to share, but we need the email IDs. Yeah.
Okay, but not required. I will share the recording letter so that they can see and they can do. Okay, no problem. No issue.
Just a minute. We are just training a tokenization model. So if you if you see inside this file explorer, we have got two files. One is SPM model and one is SPM vocab. SPM model contains our tokenizer model, and the vocab is a vocab file. Vocab file will be containing, we'll be seeing all this file on my local system, and because I mapped the files to my local system as well. So SPM.vocab will be containing 16,000 vocab or the unique subwords. So now we have trained our model. Yeah. So now we need to we have our train files. We need to split it into train as well as the validation dataset. So what we do is we train. We are just using the EN, and let's take. We had 1,95,000 segments. So and those are suffered. So let's take first 1,75,000 as the train, and similarly for val. Here from the list which we created, we are just taking first 1,75,000 as training set, and the others balance as validation data set. Now we need to save 4 files. One is training file for English and Hindi. Similarly, validation file for English and Hindi. So here we are creating Yeah, I got a. We are getting a character coverage that error. For that, you need to specify here spm.sentencepiece_trainer.train. In the chat window, I received a message. So please add this part .train, then it will work. Yeah. So now what we are doing is like we are saving those 4 files. So 2 are source file and train and validation similarly. So let's run this, and this text also I'm putting it here so that others can directly use it. So we see inside train folder, all those 4 files are created. Text files which have a single segment in each line. Then we need to tokenize all these 4 files using our train tokenizer model, which is spm.model. For that, let's create a map for easy readability or reusing the code. So here we just say what will be our input file and what will be our output. So and to identify tokenized file, we just So we just add this .tok as extension to specify that it is a tokenized file.
Mr. Amulya, somewhere for value.n, take as value underscore en in code. Annapurna has
Yeah,
written.
that should. Yeah, Anumana ma'am, that basically is fine. The global standard has been to specify the .en as or the language as identifier extension. It won't throw any error even on Linux or Windows system. So we can use, even we can use underscore also, but that also will work. Yeah. So our file map is ready. 2 source file, 2 target files, train one. Yeah. So now we use the sentence based model to tokenize it. So like I said, while training we use sentence piece processor, and now we use while training we use sentence piece trainer, and while processing we use sentence piece processor. We initialize this, then we load the model. The As discussed, the model can be found inside train files. This spm.model is our train tokenization model. Then we specify the file. Yeah. So model is loaded. We get it true as a notification. Yeah, once it tokenized, we'll be seeing how the files look like, all this 4 and this corresponding tokenized files. So now we need to create a helper method, basically to call the tokenize. Once we provide a text, it provides us the tokenized output. Yeah, whatever code is a bit bulk, I'm just putting it in chat window as well. Here we return mostly the sentence space encode as pieces and we pass text. We return sentence space. These two methods, token and detokenize, will be used as helper method for detokenize and tokenizing. Tokens will be a array of individual tokens. Yeah. So now we need to tokenize this. Yeah. We are using the file map which we created just to tokenize all these files in a go. So similarly, we read. We can use that to open input and further. Then I'll be explaining this code once. Yeah. So here basically what we do is we read a file and call this tokenized method which we just created in 22 cell here and pass it a text, and the tokenized text is stored in this list outputs. Then now we'll be using, now we'll have to save it in a file. So we'll be using its corresponding .tok file, so which is inside this output file, and we change this mode to write and we use this out. Then we'll have to write the lines. Yeah. So, because the tokenizer outputs a list with individual tokens, so we used to create a string by having separating them using and we provide a new line character after this. This should be good, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, here there is a typo. This encoding needs we need to have a G added. Yeah. So now hope all of us are following along. And now we see the .tok files are already created. So now we'll just see how the plain text file and its corresponding UK file looks like. Before that, yeah. Yeah, is my visual code visible? The
Yes,
screen?
sir. Yes, sir. Visible.
Yeah. So there we had four files. One was source val, source trend. So this is the source val file. So each line contains one segment, and this was the some 20,000 files, 20,000 segments. Sorry, and we took 1,75,000 as our train set. So here we can see 20,000 files. Then similar this part where we took 1,75,000. The last line is the Prime Minister flagged of this one. So similarly for the same.
Mr. Amuli, your voice
So
is
if
breaking.
yeah.
Voice-
So by is it better now? Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So now we can see the tokenized file. So here the tokenized file looks like this. So if we see the plain text file, it had in the first line in his address on the occasion, the Home Minister expressed hope. Similarly, after tokenization, it has become like this. These are basically subwords underscore IN underscore his address. Similarly, if we see something here, the silent has been splitted into two subwords. I have highlighted it like underscore SIL space ENT. So this is a sample tokenization file. So is the sample tokenization file clear? So we'll have to move back to training.
Anybody having any queries here?
Okay, I take it as no.
Yes.
So along with the tokenizer model, we got a vocab file also. How the vocab file looks is we took 16,000 vocab. Here, like if you see this on, all these are 1 tokens, and we specified 16,000 as the vocab size. So if you see here, we have 16,000 subwords. But the OpenNMT takes it in a slightly different format, and we see a ID, kind of this number attached to with this token. But OpenNMT takes it without the ID. So we need to convert this sentence-based tokenizer into OpenNMT compatible format. So let's go to the other window. So here we use -hyphen. Hope my Google Colab is visible.
Yes.
Yeah, OpenMT provides a command which can be used directly to convert the sentence space format to its own OpenMT format. So the command is OpenNMT-build-vocab. Then we specify the save vocab. Save vocab takes the file in which we want to save the new vocab. Then we say which is the source file from vocab. Here we specify the spm.vocab. Then we say what is the format from where we got this file. That was from our sentence space library. So we specify sentence space. Yeah, now we see in this Windows Explorer here in the second item, we have got something called spm.onmt.vocab. That looks similar to what I showed. So now we are ready for training. So here this is a big part of the file. So how do I get it? Okay, so here we need to create a config file where we specify all the hyperparameters as well as parameters for our training, like what will be the training size, what will be the batch size, and what are the input files. For this, we need to create a file, and we use the command mostly write file, and we save it inside the same train files and give it a name, something like config.yml. And here we need to provide the text. If I can get it from somewhere, some of my old. Yeah, this is just a config file. Once I get it, it will be easy for us to put it. Yes, so where to get it? This time. Just let me get that file so that I share the text as well, so that it saves us some time. So hope all of us have followed till this stage.
I hope so. No reply. Annapurna madam, have you any doubt?
Somehow my
That config file is missing, or
no config file I am trying to reuse so that, but the Zoom looks like it's frozen. Zoom looks like it's.
Mr. Amulya, Anuswa madam is asking to see the last code running.
Okay. So I have shared a part of the config file. I will be just sharing that screen again. So yeah, second part and the first part of the config file I've sent in this chat window. So now I share my screen. Yeah. So ma'am, screen is visible.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Yes, it's available now.
Yeah. So last was this 26 line where we converted the OpenNet format, and here we are trying to create a config file. This config file contents I have sent the window as well. Yeah. So here, if we see, this is a config file for the OpenNMT. We specify the model directory. So English, we'll be saving it in a name English Hindi transformer, and it has got a data section where we specify the train file, test file, as well as like eval file. This is the validation file and the source VOCA files. Yes. Yeah. Then we have something called replace unknown target. That is basically if something is not found in the vocab, it will be taking from the source and just copying it instead of translating it. And then we have train parameters. Batch size, here we specify the batch size. Batch size is 8,000. This is the size which will be accumulated in one batch of gradient descent. This again needs to be fixed based on the size of the GPU memory basically. For Google Cola, we can take 8,000. We can reduce if we are training on the local system. And this token says we are training on token 10,000 is the number of batches, like 2 times our batch size, which will be used for gradient accumulation and gradient descent basically. And this save checkpoints says after how many steps we'll be saving a checkpoint or a intermediate version of our model. And we can specify the how many checkpoints to save to have better usage of memory. We just say 2, and max steps provides for how many epochs or training steps we need to train. For this demo purpose, we have just kept it 1,000. But for now, I guess we can change it to a bit less as we are running out of time. So save checkpoint steps also 200. Let's change. And then we provide sample buffer size specifies while choosing a batch what is the size of the population. Like if you specify -1, the whole data set will be taken as a will be sampled basically. Yeah. So then we have eval parameter. Here we specify is we specify after how many steps we evaluate our model, and what is the score we take. Blue score is the common one we take. So if we run this, yeah, now we see a config.yml file has been created. So hope all of us are following along. I had sent this text, but here we are missing to provide the file name. So we need to provide the file names. File names are this 4. Yeah, source goes in the feature section. So we specify this, like this is the source file. Then we specify the target part of the training, and we have named the file accordingly for easier identification. And in the labels we provide the train part. Then we have source part of the validation. Then we take the Hindi part. Then in the vocab we provide the vocab file name, basically the OpenMP format. Basically this, and it is a shared book for vocab and target vocab will remain the same. So it's spm.onmt.vocab. Yeah, file is saved, config.yml file. Now we are ready for training our model. Yeah. So for all of us have created our vocab file. So now we are ready for training. Training basically we need to specify open onmt-main -h. This is just I'm showing what are the parameters we can use. So here this is a help file for OpenNMT. Here we basically specify using model type what model we'll be using. This NMT big and NMT medium still uses RNN based models, and we have option for transformer as well. Similarly, we need to specify whether we want to train or evaluate or what exactly we want to do. We want to train, so we'll be providing this argument train. This ONMT-main-h just provides us the help file for this OpenNMT, which is self-explanatory. So we use OpenNMT. We want to train our system, so then we provide the model type, and model type will be using transformer. Then we need to specify the config file which we just created. So that is inside train_files, and the name is config.yml. Then we specify auto config. There are multiple configs, config parameters, but we in the config file we have specified only the mandatory ones or which are of major concern. Rest all will be taking the default value. So we specify auto config. Then we specify that we want to train our model. Along with train, we want to evaluate at intermediate steps on the validation dataset we provided. And I am sending this as well on the chart window. This is a command to train the model. So, and let's see, okay, train_files basically. And okay, yeah, here in the chart window you need to specify train_files. Okay. So there is some issue with the GPU from Google. There is okay. Take the YML file as it is. Just a minute. Let me get it from the other screen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we have 10 more minutes. So I will be sending the direct config file. Now the GPU is also down over the Google Colab. So, and we'll be seeing the trained model already, which we have. Hope that's fine. Because the training anyway will be taking for our even for 200 steps, it will be taking more than 40 minutes. But the usually, let me just share my screen. Is my screen visible?
No, not visible.
Okay. Okay. So I need to share this. And okay. Is there an option to share the full desktop?
I don't know. Here I have already given the permission.
Okay, but okay, then we'll toggle
Yes,
it.
yes, it's coming now.
Yeah. So here, if we see, you are sharing. No, there is some.
You just do one thing. You just send the PPT and code. Okay. So and just give your
Yeah.
mail
That
ID
should be
also,
fine.
mail ID also, so that our participant now know how to start, how to train the model. So if there is
Sure.
any issue, they can contact you because you just
Yeah.
mail ID in chat
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
That's better.
After training or after running that command, we get we have used this en_hi_ transformer to save our models. We specified to save checkpoint. This is called a checkpoint, like at each interval. I have trained that model for 30,000 steps, thus using the same data. The same config file can be used to train for longer duration by changing max_steps.
Yes, it will take time to model. Also.
Yeah. So here we have till 30,000 I've trained, and similarly we used our validation data set of close to 20,000 segments. Those get evaluated in intervals, like in an interval of 2,500, so that we get a accuracy of how our model is training. So a file looks like again I'm unable to share the full screen. How do I say it? Okay. This eval folder basically contains those evaluation of the validation dataset. Similarly, we have export folder. The best model which till now, like on the validation dataset, get exported into a TensorFlow format, which can be hosted as well. This detaches the this which you see 22,500. These are saved models, TensorFlow saved models, which can be used or hosted for any use. And now I will be showing the tensor board. For our okay, that should be fine. Tensor board. And OpenNMT has got integration with TensorBoard by default, so it saves all its logs in a readable format where TensorBoard can read. So I'm just trying to load the TensorBoard screen so that we can see the progress of training. Yeah. So hello. Did I miss something?
No. Continue.
Yeah. I'm just sharing my TensorBoard screen so that we see the trained model. So my TensorBoard screen or the Chrome is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So basically, it logs the gradients and how the losses progressed till 30 steps, which I already trained this model. It took around 7 to 8 hours for 30K steps on my system. And then we have the loss parameter. Now coming to the metrics for neural machine translation, BLUE is the main metric. So this is how the BLUE has progressed when evaluated on our validation dataset, which had 20,000 segments. So at 5K training steps, 6.79. Then we see it has increased and somewhat it has converged around 20K. And here we see a slight dip, but if we continue for some more time, it will converge and it won't decrease or increase. So here if we see, so for your exercise after the session, if you're training, you can train for 5K also, 5,000 max steps, so that you get a model which is trained with accuracy of 26.79 for experimentation. Or if you can train for 10K steps, then also it will be fine, and we'll be able to get somewhere close to 31 BLUE score. And for getting the tensor, it's simple. Like the file folder which we provided, en_hi_TensorBoard transformer, we need to specify that path to TensorBoard. It's same as all other TensorFlow based trainings and usage of TensorBoard. Yeah, this was one item where we can track the loss, and here it shows the loss as well as perplexity of the decoder side also. The lower the perplexity, the better the model. So this was one part. Now we'll have to use. Hope the TensorBoard viewing for integration with OpenNMT is clear. Feel free to reach out to my email ID. Now we'll be looking at how to evaluate and infer the model. I'll be taking another just 5 to 7 minutes. Hope that's fine for all of us.
Yes, no problem. Again.
Yeah. So now I'll be showing how to infer and evaluate. So model with that one single line, which I showed like ONMT-main train along with passing the config file, the model would have trained, and we can see the logs also. Once the model is trained, now we need to infer it. And we saw the validation BLUE score using TensorBoard as well. So now for inference also expects a file which is in the tokenized format. So again, we call the sentence space model, and we'll my Excel and the local Jupyter notebook is visible.
Yes,
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah. So here we already had trained a sentence space model. So we again load the sentence space model. Then we specify what will be our input and output file for inference or testing. Inference will be just testing our model, sending it some unseen data and seeing what the prediction of a model is. I can show this in cell 26 how the test en and test en TOK looks. So for that purpose, just let me open it. Yeah. Show. Yeah. So here I was just having this test en TOK and text file ready. Then what we do is like we read that test file and same we tokenize it and save it in the .tok name. So let us see those files, or else we can see them together. But if you see the line cell 48 here, this is the command to infer the files. That also I'm sending in the chat window. Anyway, I'll be sharing the whole notebook along with the inference as well as evaluation part. Yeah. So here we specify the same we call OpenNMT, we provide the same config file which we use for training. Then we specify auto config. Then we specify the checkpoint path. Checkpoint path is the path exact model which we want to use for inference. Like for example, I trained until 30,000, but I'm using the checkpoint 20,000 because this checkpoint had the highest blue as per my validation data set. So I specify ch checkpoint 20,000. Then earlier I specified train because I wanted OpenNLP train. Now we'll have to specify infer. Then in feature underscore file, we provide the test file or the English text which we want to translate. And then after this prediction file, we specify the name of the file where we want to save the translated output or the predicted Hindi text from our model. Then we run it this. Then after running, we would have received in this translated underscore 20k underscore Hindi a file where we have got tokenized version of Hindi output. For that, I'm just opening up. Yeah, hope my Visual Studio Code is loaded.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So this is the file which 8 segments which I created for testing or inferring our model. So it had some 8 segments, like it is said that 0 was discovered in India and some date with digit, just a random combination. Then we pass this plain text file and create a tokenized file, a tokenized version of this 8 segments. Here we can see this test underscore en.tok. Here we have tokenized it using our sentence-based model. Then we pass this tokenized file to our model for inference. Then we get something like this, translated underscore 20k underscore hi.tok. Is my screen flickering, or we are able to see this tokenized version of Hindi? Are we able to see tokenized version of Hindi
yes,
file,
yes.
which 9? Yeah. So here what happens is we have the tokenized, this is the output from our model after inference. Again, we need to pass this tokenized file to our sentence-based model and get it detokenized. And that part is here. If you see the txt file. So our English text was, it is said that the 0 was discovered in Hindi in India only. And the model gave us output कहते हैं शून्य का आविष्कार भारत में ही हुआ. Similarly, if you see the 5th item here, it's like 19th October 2020, and we had passed October 19, 2020. It has translated it because it didn't find a translation for October, so it has used learned from our training dataset and accordingly provided output 19 October 2020. Similarly, we have Ek Desh Ek Chunav, which was a translation for the 7th item, one country, one election. This is how we can use the OpenNMT system to infer. Yeah, now we'll be going to evaluation part. This is the last part which we use our data to calculate the blue score. Yeah. So now coming to this evaluation section. We use, as discussed, we can use Sacreblue package. That is a standard implementation, and this Sacreblue score is also quoted as a universal metric for our any kind of publishing any research or even showcasing our systems. So what we do is we had 2 files. We had one test file, test Hindi. This is the gold standard file, like which we know, or the human translated file. We know that this file has got correct translation for that corresponding English text. Then we provide this translated underscore 5k. This is the file which we got as a prediction. Then when we pass this 2 files to this Sacreblue, then we get something highlighted as the output. I hope my Internet Explorer or the notebook is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So here, if you see after running this command in cell 36, we get something here. And this after equal to, if you see 31.1, this is the blue score. So as I said, NLTK gives us from 0 to 100, but it's definitely perfectly fine if we report it from 0 to 100 scale also. So 31.1 is the blue score when a corpus level blue. When we compare both our reference file and our prediction file. And if you see something 62.7, 40.3, 27.1 and 13.7, these are basically the unigram and bigram, or basically blue score takes into consideration for n-gram based approach similarity. So this 62.7 is the 1 gram or the unigram score, like how many individual words were there in the reference text. Similarly, single words. Similarly, it dropped to 40.3 because this score is about 2 gram. So how many two consecutive words were found in the reference text? Similarly, it again dropped to 27.1 because here it is comparing how many 3 consecutive words were found or in the reference text. And similarly, 13.7 is the how many individual 4 consecutive words were found. But this takes a cumulative score is 31.1 taken into consideration. And this brevity penalty is a penalty of blue score penalizes very short translations. If the reference text is of 10 character 10 words, but our model gives us 5 word tokens, then definitely we are having a loss of information. That is, the fluency of the model is not there, so it penalizes basically on that ratio, like what is the ratio of the translated size of the translated text and what is the reference text basically count. Yeah, this is how to calculate the corpus blue. Then the last item is how to use Sacre Blue to calculate a sentence level blue. So here in the 25 cell, we just import Sacre Blue, and in reference, we provide the gold standard or the human translated text. If you see, then it in the system, we have specified the text which we received as the output of our model. Then we calculate, call this corpus blue method, and we provide the system output and the reference output. And this is how we get a sentence level blue. For this sentence, we got 10 as blue because there is a mismatch in the length of the output as well as the human translated, which is in REFS list. So that's how the brevity penalty would have changed. Will be a lower value, and that is a brevity penalty is multiplied with blue. So we got 10 as a score. Yeah, with this, I see like we have covered training part, because training part is a time consuming part. Once you finish your training, you can anyway infer using the same approach which I just, and I'll be sharing the notebook as well. And evaluation is to calculate blue. These are the syntax for evaluating your model and getting the blue score. So nothing. Yeah, anything else like
Any query?
any doubt,
Yes, sir.
question?
Yes, sir. I have a
We can cover.
question, sir. If
Yes, yes.
I have my own parallel data, for example, Assamese and Oriya, so then from where do I start from this code?
Sorry, so I missed your question. What do you have parallel?
I have my own parallel data because we
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this code is
that should be, yeah, that should be absolutely fine. So if you see, shall I share the notebook? That is also possible. Yeah. So to answer this question, if you have your parallel data, instead of downloading the zip file, which I provided two URLs, you
okay.
can directly use your files like in the same format.
Okay, sir. Sir, one more
Instead
question,
of,
sir. Can I use for tokenization? As I have heard is about the Indic library for tokenization. Can I use its better result for accuracy or all these things?
yeah, you can do a experimentation because Indic library covers huge. These are basically pre-trained libraries, so you can. It's always better to use an end-to-end goal in neural machine translation. So You can experiment, but definitely Indic library provides at some instances better results. We have seen for some of our English to ODI engines as well as English to Tamil NMT models.
Sorry, sir. I'm asking about sir tokenizer, Indic tokenizer.
Yes, yes, Indic tokenizer can be used. We have used Indic tokenizer as well as Moses provide Moses tokenizer for
Yes, sir.
our. We can use that. Definitely, we can use and experimentation and see.
Okay.
But those are not subboard tokens. So you need to do two experiments. One with this subboard approach and using the Indic tokenizer as well.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
But in some papers report using the Indic tokenizer. That should be absolutely fine to experiment. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Anyone ask to anything to Amulya? Any participant having any queries? You can ask to Amulya. Mr. Amulya, you just share your email ID in chat box, and definitely I will send them the PPTs and all other things. You just share your mail ID so that at the time of implementation, yes, you can note it down. So anyway, Mr. Amulya, it's a very nice session, very informative. Definitely, a student will contact you later at the time of implementation because everybody has not done it parallelly with you. Once again, thank you very much, and I will share your PPTs as well as that code. I will share with the participants so that they will implement and later they will contact you. Thank you once again very much.
Sure. Thanks, sir.
Yes.
So basically, I will just make change. Our Google Colab file is up to date, so I'll be just sending it as it is, and others can follow along with their own data, or you can use the sample data which I provided. That will be hosted anyway on GitHub. The same DOMI data can also be used for English to Hindi. It's always better to use less amount of data while modeling or starting because it takes more time to train on huge amount of data, and after 12 hours the Google Colab freezes for that session. So it's always to have less number of steps as well as less data. Later with on-premise GPU we can train, or paid accounts we can have our full models ready. Feel free to reach out me on my email ID.
Yeah, thank you.
If
Thank you
any
for the
issues or
information
for
also.
any sort of collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you once again,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Amulya. Thank you very much. So we'll end up the session now. So we'll meet again at 3 o'clock. Thank you very much. Thank you, Amulya sir. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.